Okay, let's see. What do we got? So today I want to talk about keeping everything that is within your control in order so that you can let go, more easily let go of everything that is not in your control. This is a concept that's kind of been rattling around in my head because I recently read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, which is kind of one of the foundational stoic, texts, I guess. But what really initiated this topic for this video was something that happened to me a few days ago. So, story time. So there I was at work, and it's one of the busiest days that we've had in the warehouse. It's a customer day, there's customers, there's a line out the door. We are just barely keeping up with all the trucks that are going in and out and everything. It's just swamped. And so at some point during the shift, I get a text that just from like a random number that just says, "I'm your new parole officer." That's it. Nothing else. Now, just to give you some context, at this point, I've been on house arrest for like almost a year now. And I've had the same parole officer since I got out. And I've had no issues, I've just followed the program as perfectly as I possibly can. I've had no like write-ups or issues or failed drug tests or anything at all. Nothing problematic has happened in this whole year. So just on this random day, here comes this text. "I'm your new parole officer." All right, so I'm like, okay, what's your name? She texts back, and we start to get to talking. She starts asking me these questions. And so, like, right off the bat, she starts getting, like, hostile and telling me, like, that all these things that I had been told before are wrong, and, like, I'm doing, I'm not supposed to have this or that, or I'm not supposed to be doing this or that. And then she just like immediately starts threatening to take me back to prison like right away. And I'm in the middle of this crazy rush at work, just like, what is going on right now? Like, it's just out of the blue. And so then she says to me, "You need to go to the ankle monitor place right now to get a new ankle monitor." Okay, so it's like almost 4 o'clock at this point. Intercept, which is the ankle monitor place, is across town. I don't drive right now, so I don't have a car. I am running the entire storefront at our warehouse, like single-handedly. For me to just drop everything and walk out abruptly is problematic. But I have to do this now if I'm going to get there in time because Intercept closes at 5. I'm supposed to be at work till 5. So I text her back like, "Hey, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Are you telling me that I need to leave right this second, blah, blah, blah? And, is there any way I can just go in the morning because of all this stuff that's going on?" And I don't hear back from her. And I keep checking and keep texting her, "Hey, I need to know right now, blah, blah, blah." So at this point, I'm assuming that, okay, maybe she's just trying to act tough or something. There's no way she actually wants me to just suddenly do this crazy thing at the last possible second. And so I'm thinking, okay, she'll get back to me and say, okay, in the morning or something. Sure enough, like between 4:15 and 4:30, I think it was, she texts me back, "You better get there like now." So I call the boss, say, "I'm leaving right now. I'm walking out of the thing. I don't even know if I have enough time to get there at this point. I'm leaving this second. Sorry, I can't explain. Bye." I clock out. I call an Uber. I go walk out to wait for the Uber. Take the Uber over to Intercept. Get there like moments before they close. They're like locking up and walking out. They're like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I don't really know. I just was," and I told them the whole situation. And they were like, "Well, can you come back tomorrow?" Because we're closing right now, and it's a kind of a process to switch over to this other ankle monitor that she wanted me on or whatever. And I'm like, "Here's the deal. This is what I was told." And so they're like, "All right, come in." And they switch me over, and then, I'm like, text her like, "Okay, I did what you said, and I'm walking home now." And then I never hear from her again. not a, "Oh, thanks," or not a like, good, or not a anything. Just they can be so rude sometimes. They can just treat you. These cops can just treat you like you're just scum, like you're just not even worth like any kind of just common courtesy or anything. Like right out of the gate, it's really crazy sometimes. Like I've encountered a few of these cops since I've been in this whole mess, and it's unbelievable. So then I had to go back to work the next day, and it just so happened to be that the vice president of the whole company had been there when I had left, and was there again this next day because he had come up to help out because it had been so crazy lately. And he's just like, what happened? And so I had to explain to him what happened. And luckily he was like super understanding. And he was like, I get it, blah, blah, blah. And so it was all good, even though it was really problematic for them at that moment when I left. This whole situation was really stressful, and it's had me on edge for the last few days, actually. Part of the reason why it's so disconcerting is just because of kind of the nature of it, in the sense that I was told to do something that I almost wasn't able to do while receiving threats of being taken back to jail, all when I didn't do anything wrong, and it came out of the blue. When I think about it, if that Uber had happened to take like 2 minutes longer, which is completely something that absolutely could have happened, it could have taken 10 minutes longer. I wouldn't have made it there on time. And if I didn't make it there on time, I don't know what she would have done. This parole officer, this particular one, has a reputation for being pretty tyrannical. So I don't know what she would have done. I don't know what she's capable of. I don't know how unreasonable she is. I've never met her. I've never dealt with her personally before. I've only heard stories, and stories can be, there's two sides to it, and so I never really go too much on that. But I just don't know, right? So I just don't know what her deal is. But so far, she's come off as pretty erratic and unreasonable and unpredictable and tyrannical, really. That was pretty extreme to do that, especially to somebody who has just been doing this program for a year and has never had any issues. To come at me like that and to pop off like that, I don't know what her deal is. The scary thing is that she is completely capable of taking me to prison if she wants to. Like she would have no problem just devising some way that she could get me to be in trouble technically so I could go back to prison, even when I'm attempting my very best to do everything right. So sucks that that's the situation that I'm in, but she does have all the power. And for someone like that to have all the power over you is kind of unnerving. To be in this situation with someone like that induces paranoia, because now, I'm looking around my room all the time. I'm looking in through the house, like, what in here could she possibly construe into something that's problematic, Like, is she going to freak out because I use a box cutter at work, or, like that kind of stuff. It's just like crazy stuff that like she could actually, decide is problematic if she wanted to. And, you have a weapon, or whatever. Like it sounds ridiculous, but those are things that she could actually, do if she wanted to. Just so I'm like, what do I need to do? What can I possibly do? Even though I'm doing everything right, I'm still like, this paranoia is induced. So how does this all relate back to Marcus Aurelius? So all of that brings us back to the original point that I wanted to talk about, which is understanding what you can control and understanding what is out of your control. This is a really good lesson in this for me right now, because this parole officer, at least at this point, represents everything that is out of my control. I don't know what her agenda is. I don't know what she's trying to accomplish. I don't know what she wants, but I do know that I'm following all the rules the best I can. I'm doing everything exactly the way I'm supposed to, as far as I know, and I'm open to whatever other information I get from her at any point, and I'm ready to adopt that into and modify what I'm doing to try to match exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. But that's the best I can do. Everything else is out of my control as far as this situation goes. This parole officer could decide to, put me in an impossible situation for me, again, like where the Uber comes 2 minutes later and I don't make it, and she could decide that that was like a breach of, whatever, and I could be back on the bus to prison tomorrow. But that will be okay with me. I mean, it will suck, of course, but when I'm sitting on that bus on the way back, I can know this had nothing to do with me. I took care of everything that I was supposed to, and these are just external circumstances that I had no control over. And although it would suck to have to, do more time because of this person, or like have an extended sentence and be in prison again and all that stuff, there is a piece of knowing that, this is out of my control. That's why I'm so adamant about keeping my shit together right now. Like I don't mean like my shit together as far as like so that, I don't get in trouble. I mean keeping my shit together in my whole life, right? All this stuff that I've been doing on the channel, all of the, minimalizing and quitting the vaping and exercising and getting on a super tight schedule and really focusing in on my day-to-day life. That's what I have control over right now. I don't have the freedom to go do whatever I want or be wherever I want. I'm really limited. And so what I do have control over, though, is what is actually the hardest thing for everybody to have control over. The hardest things in life aren't the getting all the stuff and getting all the money and having all the things or being wherever you want at any time. Those aren't the hard things in life. Those are the easy things in life. The hard things in life are getting control of yourself. And that's what I'm doing here, so that no matter what happens, regardless of whether it's in this circumstance with this ankle monitor and parole and house arrest thing, or in life generally, I can go out and get in a car wreck tomorrow on the way to work and die. But in my dying breath, I know I did my best and this is out of my control, I don't have to sit there with regret, like, oh, I should have been doing this, or I should have been doing that, or I wish I would have, spent more time this or that. I don't want any of that. I want to know that I could die tonight and be okay with the way I've been living. We live with all these, what ifs. Oh no, what if this happens? I have to, prepare for if this happens or that happens. Oh my God, what if this happens? All this anxiety about just being in the world today. Yes, it is true that anything could happen at any time, but it's important not to let our minds wander out and let so much of our bandwidth and our mental well-being get ciphered into these worries about things that we aren't in control of. We tend to tacitly take responsibility, like in our gut and in our minds for things that are really out of our control. And the reason that we do that is because we are juggling with all of these emotions from not having ourselves under control. It's like we worry about the things that are outside of our control because we're not really taking responsibility for the things even that are within our control. Nothing is really in our control except for just how we choose to be in our lives day to day. All right. So the song of the week is the song that I discovered when I got out of prison, and it's just been sitting with me again this week, and I love it so much, and I love this artist so much, Billie Eilish. All right. Yes, she's awesome. I don't care what you say. And she has this little 2-track thing called Guitar Songs that came out a little while ago, and one of the songs on it is The 30th. So Billie Eilish, The 30th is the song of the week. Check it out. All right. Take care of yourselves. I'll be checking in again next week. I think I'm going to try to start kind of sharing more of what's going on with me, what I'm struggling with, and things like that, because it seems to be helpful. This whole episode with this new parole officer thing, like, kind of rattled me up, and I was tempted just to kind of not talk about it because I felt like, like almost like embarrassed about it, like it was my fault or something. We tend to do that, I think. It's just take things that cause us anxiety and like hold them in and try to like hold up a face or whatever. But I want you guys to know what I'm struggling with, and I want you to know what things I'm going through and how I'm dealing with that, and maybe you can help me deal with it by just listening and being so kind as to share your time with me. So see ya later. Bye now.